Hi kids, we are reading Flora and Ulysses, and we are on chapter 16. Chapter 16 is called Victims of Extended Hallucinations. It was not her father at the door, it was Tootie. Tootie Tickman, said Flora. Tootie stepped through the door and into the living room, and then she stopped, her eyes widened. What in the world, she said. Flora didn't even bother turning around. She knew what Tootie was looking at. That's the little shepherdess, said Flora, the guardian of lost sheep and light, or something like that. She belongs to my mom. Right, said Tootie. She shook her head. Well, never mind the lamp. She took another step closer to Flora. Where's the squirrel? She whispered. Upstairs, said Flora. I've come to check to see if what I think happened yesterday actually happened, or if I'm the victim of an extended hallucination. A hallucination is that you're seeing things. Flora looked Tootie in the eye. She said, Ulysses can type. Who can type, said Tootie. The squirrel. He's a superhero. Tootie said, for heaven's sake, what kind of superhero types? It was a good, almost slightly disturbing point. How exactly was a typing squirrel going to fight villains and change the world? George, shouted Flora's mother. It's not Pop, Flora said. It's Mrs. Tickman. There was a silence in the kitchen, and then Flora's mother came into the living room with a big, fake adult smile plastered on her face. Mrs. Tickman, she said, what a lovely surprise. What can I do for you? Tootie smiled a big, fake adult smile back. Oh, she said, I just came by to pay Flora a visit. Who? Flora, said Tootie, your daughter? Really, said Flora's mother. You came to see Flora? I'll be right back, said Flora. She ran out of the living room and through the dining room. What a truly extraordinary lamp, said Tootie. Oh, do you like it, said Flora's mother. Ha, thought Flora. Then she was out of the dining room and into the kitchen. She ripped the paper off the typewriter and looked down at the words. They were absolutely no hallucination. Holy beluga, said Flora. A loud scream echoed through the house. Flora took a paper and shoved it down the front of her pajamas and ran back to the living room. Ulysses was sitting on the top of Marianne. Marianne's the lamp. Or rather, he was trying to sit on top of Marianne, because Marianne's a lamp that's like a shepherdess of the sheep, yeah. His feet were scrambling to gain purchase on a little shepherdess's pink-flowered lampshade. He paused in his efforts and looked at Flora in a apologetic and hopeful way, and then he returned to wobbling back and forth. Oh, my goodness, said Tootie. How did it get in here? Shouted Flora's mother. It just came flying down the stairs. Yes, said Tootie. She gave Flora a meaningful look. Flying. It absolutely scared the living daylights out of me, said Mrs. Tickman. We screamed. We did, said Tootie. We screamed. There's just no end to the excitement. If that squirrel breaks my lap, I do not know what I will do. Marianne is very precious to me. Marianne, said Tootie. I'll just get him off the lamp, okay, said Flora. She put out her hand. Don't touch it, screamed her mother. It is diseased. The doorbell rang as if it was echoing Flora's mother's advice. Buzzed its terrible warning buzz. Flora and her mother and Tootie all turned around. A small voice called out. The voice said, Great Aunt Tootie. Okay, so here's a picture of the squirrel on top of the shepherdess lamp. Now you can see the craziness of it all. There was a boy at the door. He was short, and his hair was so blonde that it looked almost white. His eyes were hidden behind his enormous dark eyes. In addition to the terrible things can happen to you, the illuminated adventures of the amazing Incandesto regularly featured a second bonus comic entitled The Criminal Element is Among Us. The Criminal Element gave very specific pointers on how to never, ever be fooled by a criminal. And one of the oft-repeated dictums of the criminal element was that the best way to get to know a person is to look him in or her directly into the eye. Flora tried to look the boy in the eye, but all she saw was a reflection of herself in his dark glasses. She looked short and uncertain, like an accordion in pajamas. William, said Tootie, I told you to stay put. I heard screaming, said the boy. His voice was high and thin. I was concerned. I came as fast as I could. Unfortunately, on the way over, I had a small but extremely violent encounter with some variety of shrub, and now I'm bleeding. I think I'm bleeding. I'm pretty sure I smell blood, but no one should be concerned. Please don't overreact. This, said Tootie, is my nephew. Great nephew, said the boy, and I hope I don't need stitches. Do you think I will need stitches? His name is William, said Tootie. William Spiver, actually, said Tootie's nephew. I prefer to be called William Spiver. It distinguishes me from the multiplicity of Williams in the world. He smiled. It's a pleasure to meet you, whoever you are. I would shake her hand, but as I said, I think I'm bleeding, so also I am blind. You're not blind, said Tootie. I am suffering from a temporary blindness induced by trauma, said William Spiber. Temporary blindness induced by trauma? The word sent a chill down Flora's spine. Seemingly, there was no end to the things that could go wrong with human beings. Why hadn't terrible things can happen to you done an issue on temporary blindness induced by trauma? Or, for that matter, one on extended hallucinations? I am temporarily blind, said William Spiber again. How unfortunate, said Flora's mother. He is not blind, said Tootie. But as of this morning, he is staying with me for the summer. Imagine my surprise and excitement. I have nowhere else to go, grinned Aunt Tootie, said William Spiber. I know that I am at the mercy of the winds of fate. Oh, said Flora's mother. She clapped her hands. How wonderful! A little friend for Flora. I don't need a little friend, said Flora. Of course you do, said her mother. She turned to Tootie. Flora is very lonely. She spends far too much time reading comics. I've never tried to break her of the habit, but I'm very busy with my novel writing, and she's alone a lot. I'm worried that I made her strange. I'm not strange, said Flora. This seemed like a safe statement to make when someone is truly profoundly strange, as William Spiber was standing beside her. I would be happy to be your friend, said William Spiber. Honored, and he bowed. How lovely, said Flora's mother. Yes, said Flora, how lovely. The blind William Spiber, even the temporarily blind, have an excellent sense of smell. Oh, for heaven's sake, said Tootie, here we go. I have to tell you that I smell something out of the ordinary, something that is not usually smelled within the confines of a human domestic sphere, said William Spiber. He cleared his throat. I smell squirrel. Squirrel? Confronted by the spectacle of William Spiber, they all had forgotten about Ulysses. Flora and her mother and Tootie all turned and looked at Ulysses. He was still on top of Marianne, and he had managed to balance himself on the small blue-green globe that was at the center of the lampshade. That squirrel, said Flora's mother. He's rabid, diseased. He has got to go. And that's the end of the chapter. So I hope you guys are enjoying Flora and Ulysses. I think it's really fun. I love reading it. And I'd love to hear your comments or questions if you have any about the book. So if you guys want to come get a new book, come over to the library any day. I am there till 3:30. All right, thank you so much. Bye.